Ba-doop boop boop boop. Boo-doop boop. Oh, hi. How are you? Yeah, me too. Do you get that feeling like you're watching Dora the Explorer? What's your name? Tell me more. Do you like green beans? Anywho, hey friends, happy Friday. I am about to blow your mind. You know why? Because my machine's not on and I'm gonna sew and I'm gonna do it with the machine. This week I've been hanging out a little bit with Ian and really been playing with some of the embroidery kits that I have bought over the past year or so and just seem to keep collecting. This is a craft that I have always wanted to do and I've wanted to learn, but I never seem to find the time to do. Well, here's the thing. After working a full day in the office, I come home and I feel guilty for being in my sewing room for too long because I only have a couple hours in the evening to have dinner and spend time with the family, and I don't want to completely ignore them, but I still want to do something creative, crafty, and fun for me. And I have found that it's time to start diving into a portable hand craft. I don't know, truthfully, that I will ever be into hand piecing, but things like big stitch quilting, a little bit of cross stitch, and hand embroidery do appeal to me if it's the right design, and it's something that I want to learn a little bit more of. So this week, I have been pulling those embroidery kits out, and that's what I have been working on in the evening. And I want to actually take you to an overhead. This is a sampler that I bought. And this sampler comes with 3 different designs in it. And the first one is this really pretty radiant, it's like a sundial. It's a stitch dictionary. And so what I've been doing is going around with pretty thread and just doing each of those individual little stitches. So I've been trying to learn as we go. And I thought, you know what? That's what we're going to do tonight. So I am going to pull out a beginner friendly embroidery kit. And I am going to see if we can what we can do in that one, and I'm going to give you all the details for it. So I'm going to set this aside and I want to show you what I'm going to be using. So I'm just going to go back to that overhead camera, and I do want to take a look really quick because I feel like I'm seeing the camera up top try to autofocus, and I want it to not autofocus. I want it to just stop. So we're just going to take a look and make sure that all of the manual stuff is on, and it sure is. So I don't know why it's adjusting. I don't know. It might be the white in the background, so we'll just leave it alone. All right, so what I have got a small kit, and the one I am about to show you is not the one I'm going to work on tonight, but I want to show you what you get from this. And so you're going to be asking me, where do you get these kits from? This is from Rosanna Diggs Embroidery. I ran past her booth at Quiltcon in Atlanta, and every year since I have gotten at least one little mini kit from her. In the beginning, she gave these out, when I first started shopping, she gave these out or sold these in drawstring bags, which made it kind of hard to put the projects back in, but now she's selling them in zipper bags, which are really great because this is just another surface to embroider on. What? I know, I put my name on it just in case somebody thinks it's their kit. It does not come with Becca backstitched on the little thing, okay? I'm just telling you. Anywho, inside you have everything that you need. So I'll just dump the contents out. Okay, maybe I'll be a little bit more gentle about that. We have got all of the skeins of floss that we're going to need for this project. There are 4 for this one. We have a beautiful sticker that shows us what our project will look like. We have felt for the back, a hoop, a needle, a water-soluble pen so that you can transfer your image, and what? You have your linen. I actually put a second needle in here, and you have your image that you're going to transfer and a nice booklet of instructions, stitching, design, all of that. This is one of her current kits. So if you're buying in 2025, this is likely what you're going to get. The one that I will be working from tonight is a bit older. It's an older kit, so the materials don't exactly look the same, but I want you to know what that is so that you can see what it looks like. And I just dropped in the chat the link and all the details for Rosanna Diggs Embroidery if you are interested. All right, so I am going to pack all this back up and I'm going to show you the project I'm going to work on tonight. Hello, hello, hello. I see Zaza's in the chat. Free Spirit is in the chat. She said the oval hoop is adorable. It really is. I see Donna's there. Hello, Bill. Hello, Shelby. Hello, Pat Strawhouse. I'm just waiting to see who else pops in. Hello, Mary. Hello, Laura. Just keep talking. Let's see what happens. All right. So this is the one that I'm going to work on. It is a cute little rainbow. I've already set everything up so that I could just get started stitching. It's going to look like this when it's done. And I apologize, I don't have a bigger image for you, but maybe if I hold this up to the camera. There it is. Oh, there it is. There it is. That's what it should look like. Stop moving away, hand. That's what it should look like when it's all said and done. So each arc of the rainbow is going to be a different stitch. I can follow the instructions that are here, or I can do a stitch that maybe I'm a little bit more confident on. I don't really know what I'll do. We'll see. I am going to try and bring that picture in just a little bit tighter though, because yeah, you're going to want to be able to see this a bit more. So we're just going to zoomy zoom, zoomy zoom, zoomy zoom. How is that looking? I'm just playing with software. Excusez-moi. Okay, maybe zoomy zoom a little bit more. Hold on, guys. I'm getting there. I should have tested this before I started, but I did not. Alas. Alas, I did not. Nah. Okay, I'm going to go probably right about there. And we'll center that nice and in the middle so you can actually see my hands. Maybe like that. Okay, that'll work. That's what we're going to do. That looks good, yeah? Yeah, that looks good. All right, let's get that out of the way. Oh, hey, let's bring the chat back. Hey, who wants to just watch a live stream where I'm setting up tech? That would be great. Let's do that. No? Okay. All right, so I'm going to get started, and I've got all of the colors here that she has told us we're going to work with. This is from the kit, so I'm just going to use these. And she said the stitch that is around the outside she's using polar bear for, so I'm going to grab just a piece of this polar bear. I am not going to be separating any of these strands. I'm going to use it the way it is, because if I run out, I have got a lot more, so I'm fine. I do not care. Plus, I feel like there's going to be more than enough to deal with there. So I'm going to go ahead and thread my needle with my pretty little flower threader thingy bob, technical term. Make sure to search for thingy bob on Amazons. Speaking of searching for things on the interwebs, let me tell you a story. But first, I'm going to show you how I do a quilter's knot, because maybe you don't know how to do it. Like I didn't know how to do one of these, and Mary taught me. And I was like, nope, nope, you can't teach me to do a quilter's knot, Mary. No, it's difficult. No, you cannot. And then she showed me, and I went, oh, it's easy. So you take your needle, and it's threaded. So you have your thread coming off of the back, and then you point your needle this way. So this is sharp. Ouch! See? Yep, sharp. And then I'm going to grab the thread and I'm going to turn the thread so that it points towards the needle. And then I'm just going to lay the thread on top of the needle and hold it between my thumb and my forefinger. I'm going to wrap it around 3 or 4 times. And then I'm going to pinch that thread. And with my other hand, I'm going to take the needle. And I'm just going to slide that right off of the needle onto the thread. And I'm going to go all the way to the end. And then I'm going to have a beautiful quilter's knot right at the end of my thread. How easy is that? Do you know what I was doing before? Tie, tie. Oh no, the 2 knots are not right on top of each other. I suck. Do it again. That's great. I love that. And apparently that's supposed to be like the motion that you use to do like a French knot. But I can't do a French knot. So go figure. All right, so I'm just going to get started. I'm going to come up from the back. I've got these dashed lines all around the outside, and so I'm just going to come up from the back and I'm going to pull the thread up to the top, and I'm just going to do, I guess this is called a running stitch, I think. So I'm just going to do that all the way around. And I know there are many ways to do this. Some folks are going to tell you, oh, you should be rocking your needle when you go instead of stab, stab. But you know what? I like to stab. So stab, stab. Okay? I'm going to stab the fabric because it's mine and I can. Stab, stab. And then she was canceled. And Mary said, yay, I taught you something. Yes, you did. Vicky says, my mom loves to embroider. I'm really enjoying this. I was sitting chatting with Ian while I was working on my sampler, and I pulled it out and we were sitting in my sewing room and I'm sitting next to him and I'm just working away on that little sampler and he just looks over at me and goes, who are you? I was like, I don't know. I have no clue who I am. Susan said, I did a whole embroidery of French knots and colonial knots. I don't even know what a colonial knot is. I have no clue. What's the difference between a French knot and a colonial knot? One's in America, one's in France? I don't know. Does one wear a red coat? Oh no, I guess that's the British. Bah. Kill me. Anywho, stab, stab. Use milliner's needers to make your French knot. Since the eye's diameter is the same as the needle shaft, it will be, and then it went away. Okay, but I got the message. She said to use the milliner's needle. Got it. Linda says, I used to love to hand embroider. I can't see good enough anymore or move my neck anymore, so I'll just enjoy watching you. It's kind of soothing. Like, I feel like I could stop making stupid jokes and you could just watch. It's a little mesmerizing, so we'll see. So I was going to tell you a story about the interwebs and searching on them. You guys all know that Ian and I dropped our podcast on Wednesday night, and we talked about all things Quiltcon. And also at the beginning of the episode, Ian had recorded a segment where he showed me that I won a ribbon from the Dallas Quilt Festival. So that you got to go back and see that. But also, we've been talking forever about getting our podcast out on all of the podcast platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon, all of the things, so that you can listen to it like you would all of your other podcasts when you're in the car, you're at the gym. Who are we kidding? Who's at the gym other than Josh? I mean, it's in his name, but I'm not at the gym. Anywho, if you are into the audio podcast, you can grab it on all the platforms. Just search for Sew Off Kilter, and this week's episode will be there for you. And all of the other episodes should be published over the course of the weekend. So yay. If you enjoy embroidery, Michelle says, you can crazy quilt. I think that would be fun. We should do one. Zaza says, I like that it's a small kit so it won't take forever to sew. You know, I think that is one of the things that I always try to tell myself when I'm picking up a new craft. Don't pick up something that's super big, because you're not going to get that sense of accomplishment for a very long time. And that's part of what, at least for me, helps me keep going, is I'm like, oh, look, I finished something. Let's go again. But if I pick up like a king size quilt to tackle for a technique for the first time, I might be calling quilt bankruptcy on that. So Joy T says, it was a good podcast, saw it on YouTube. Laura Supp is saying, Becca, is this a specific kit that you purchased? Yes, it is. And I just dropped the link in the chat for you, Laura. Jonathan says, I did 3 embroidered designs based on Fleetwood Mac songs, and then I never embroidered again. I peaked. Okay. Oh, you know what would be fun? I'd have to start now. But what if I got a vest like a plain vest, and I embroidered on it for Quiltcon. Amy says she is in on a crazy quilt. Do you guys know what a crazy quilt is? Have you seen those before? I have a little piece of one from a quilt that was made in the 1800s. It's in a frame on my shelf behind me. It was given to me as a gift from a lady I went to church with, and it has a special place in my heart, so it sits back there. Oh, Ian is not here tonight, FYI. Just want to let you know. He is apparently not in the chat either. But maybe he is in the chat because I got a text message. Maybe it was from Mary. Maybe it was from Ian. I'll never tell. Good to hear it was a leg day, Josh. Maybe I just told. So what is a, Gussie Nancy said, what is a crazy quilt? Well, a crazy quilt is it's basically a quilt that they made where they took all different types of fabrics and they cut them up into random shapes and they just laid them on top of each other and did like applique stitches to hold it all together. All right, so I've got my running stitch all around the outside, and I'm going to flip it over to the back, and I'm going to tie a knot in the back. It's really close to the frame. I don't love that for me, but whatever. We'll do what we got to do. I'll take one for the team. I'll just push it down. If I stick my tongue out, maybe it'll work. Oh, nope. It knotted in the middle. How do I do a quilter's knot on the back when it's this close to the frame? 1, 2, 3. Let's see if we can do like a reverse version of oh yeah, that worked. A reverse version of a what is that called? A French knot. Only it's really not very tidy on the back, but it is a knot, and that's all that matters. Okay. So the next thing that I want to do is pick where I want to go next. So I know that the clouds are going to get filled in with that white. It's going to be a satin fill, and that's a really easy thing to do. Plus, I feel like it would be fun to kind of see that come together. So I think I'm going to start filling in the clouds with my white. So satin stitch is really easy. You're just going to go back and forth on your design. So I'm going to focus very much on making sure that my needle comes up right on that blue line that I drew. I'm going to pull it up, and I'm going to go to a spot directly above it and go down on that blue line, just like that. And then I'll pull it taut. And then I'm going to go a little ways over, and I'm going to do the same thing. I just like to chunk it out. I don't know if everybody does this, but it feels like if I chunk it out, then I get a little bit more precise of a fill. It fills the shape better. There we go. There we go. Does anyone know what happened to the 2024 traveling quilt? Was it ever finished and revealed? No, Leslie, it was not finished. So I have a confession to make with that. I cannot find Crystal Hearts row, and I don't remember receiving it. I think it got lost in the mail, and I have felt ashamed by that. I have everybody else's row, and it's kind of stopped me from putting everything together because I felt so bad that her row couldn't be in there. But I think I just need to bite the bullet, put the quilt together, and tell the story of the post office must have lost Crystal's row. I've gone back to her. I told her I don't have it. We've tried finding it. The tracking number says it was delivered, but I don't have it. I don't know where it is, and it's been months now. So it's probably just time to put together what I have, get it quilted up, and get it out to some special person out there. Amy says, I also chunk it out because it helps me keep the stitches straight. Shaya says, hand stitching is a beautiful, agonizing art. Hand is a 4-letter word, and I can't believe I'm doing this. So-and-so said, LOL, if it went through Indy, it's definitely lost. That is true. Da, 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 da. I don't love this thread. It's so thin. I would really like it to be thicker. And I'm kind of considering, you know what? I can. I don't want it. I don't want this thread. It's too thin. I will follow the color scheme, but I'm going to go with regular embroidery floss, and I'm going to leave it as 6 strands. This is really thin thread. So Mary bought me a bunch of embroidery floss, and I've got this that I bought as well. We're just going to use this. It's a little bit chunkier, so it's going to be prettier to see the stitches. G Quilter says, hi, Becca. I have hand embroidered. I started over 20 years ago. Mine are Raggedy Ann blocks. I plan to put them in a quilt. You are motivating me to finish them. Awesome. Math Geek wants to know how many strands I was using. I don't know because this didn't feel like normal floss. It feels like really, 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 really thin, fine yarn. But for this, I'm going to use all 6 strands. And I'm pulling a piece of floss off now. I'm going to pull off a good length. We'll snip that. I said snip it. I said snip it. Snip. Thank you. Then we'll thread our needle. Zaza's asking Mary if she organized my threads. No, she did not organize this box of threads, but it does look like something she would organize, doesn't it? All right. But she did buy me a beautiful kit of threads that are in a different box. Math Geek says, interesting. Thanks. Glad you're making it your own. Me too, Shelby. Me too. All right. Here we go. Let's try again. I'm going to go back into the cloud. I'm going to chunk it out and I'm going to try to fill it in. Now, because this is thicker than what I was using, this should fill a bit faster, which is honestly another bonus, right? Mike says, hand sewing my binding on finished quilts gives me the satisfaction of hand sewing, but then knowing I don't have to hand stitch until my next finished quilt. Susan says, now that dinner is done, it's time to wash my hands, work on hand quilting the last block on my Dancing Tulips quilt. Quilting is the clamshell design. Zaza says, I'm impressed, Becca. It is definitely pleasing to look at with all the colors in the gradients. It definitely looks like Mary's work. It does, and I will tell you a secret. I bought it that way. It was on Amazon. I do wish this hoop was just a bit bigger because I'm kind of hitting the edge because the design's just a little too big for the hoop, I think. I like having a little bit of negative space before I get up next to the hoop, but it is going to come together nicely. Dawn says, hand sewing binding onto a quilt is very zen. I have not, well, yes, I have done that. I have done that. Jeff Bezos organized it. You're right, Free Spirit. It was Jeff Bezos. It came from his craft store. This thread definitely feels more like a fluffy cloud. Cheater floss, just like cheater backing, no shame. That's right. Do what you want. There are no rules other than what you say are the rules in your room. Everybody's the master of their own crafting domain. Saza says, I have been 3D printing thread savers and have a box of tangled threads to sort after my daughter borrowed my embroidery threads. Never again. Carrie says, I have a happy problem to solve. At the beginning of January, I had 8 flimsies to fit 8 flimsies to quilt. After I finish this one, I will only have 1 left. Time to piece some more. I had a lady send me, I think her name was Vanessa, but don't quote me on that because I'm horrible with remembering names. But I had a lady, a lovely subscriber, reach out shortly after I got my long arm and asked me if I would like some quilt tops to practice on. And I told her, sure, why not? And so it took a while, but then she emailed me and said, oh, by the way, I just finally got these in the mail. She sent me about 4 quilt tops to quilt and donate to the charity of my choosing. So I told her I would quilt them up. I'll use my own backing, my own batting, and then I'm going to donate them to Comfort Cases for the Quilts for Children in Foster Care drive that Stacy Lee Creative is hosting. So if I think she wants all the quilts donated by May sometime. So she saved me the trouble of having to piece the quilt, and now I can just quilt it and bind it and get them donated. Yeah, somebody said that they can see um, a difference just on the screen with the fluffiness of the thread. I agree. I feel like my hand is cramping holding the hoop because I've got such a tight death grip on it. I really don't need to have that. I'm going to have to get some more of that white. I'm running low. I'd probably do another stitch or two first. Shelly just got her long arm back from the spa yesterday. That's awesome. When hand binding, do you do single thread or double thread? I've only hand bound 1 or 2 quilts, so I just did whatever. I don't even remember what I did. I think I doubled. I think I actually used like pearl cotton on it because I was like, no, I ain't got time for this. I should have not done that last stitch because now it's hard to tie my knot at the back with the needle. So I'm going to have to do this by hand. There we go. That'll work. And now I'll get some more of that white. Linda hand binds with double. Shelly says she does it with single. Hello, Josh. He says, I'm here just cutting fabric and watching. I feel like I'm hacking at this thread. It doesn't want to cut. I'm going to show you that quilter's knot trick one more time. So I'm going to turn the needle to point towards my hand that's not holding it. Then I'm going to take the thread and point the end of the thread towards the needle. I'm going to lay it on top of that needle. I'm going to hold it with my thumb and forefinger, and I'm going to wrap the thread around the needle a few times, pinch it, and then just pull it off of the thread, or off of the needle all the way to the end of the thread. There we go. Snip this at the back so I don't make a mess. Snippity-doo-dah, snippity-a. What? I do have a little boo-boo in my cloud right there, so I'm hoping if I just do... Why are you not going through? Go through the fabric. Find your home. I'm hoping if I just do a long stitch right over top of it, it'll fill it in a little bit more. Make it look a little... yep, that'll work. Cool. And now I'm just going to come down here and start filling in this area. Janny says, hello, just a fly on the wall tonight, sewing up the Donna Jordan Lemoyne Star after holding off for 2 years. Glad to see that you're sewing that. Free Spirit says when she's binding, she uses a single strand of thread, and it makes it run, and then she runs it through Thread Magic when she's doing her binding. Sorry, I was having a hard time reading all that. Zaza said, my granny's embroidery was amazing. The back looked just like the front. Well, mine does not. Maybe it will one day. We'll call those goals. That's right. Carrie says, clouds are supposed to be puffy and airy. That's right. Okay, that looks like a cute little cloud. Could it be better? Sure, it could. Up close, it looks a little bit like a mess, but on camera, it looks great. So we're going to keep it. I'm going to tie a knot on the back. So I'm just going to run this through a couple of the stitches, and then I'll put the needle through the loop that was formed right here. And then I'll just pull tight. Okay, now we'll go do the other cloud. Thank you, Kate. She says it looks nice. I have one suggestion. As you're finishing off the thread piece, end it sooner so you are working with a larger piece of thread. It is easier. I agree, Kate. And that's what I think I just did with this one. Carrie says, I figured out a few years ago that it takes 3 Hallmark movies to hand bind a queen-size quilt. Can you guys hear the needle going through the fabric while I'm doing this? My deep dive turtle is on pause. It's in timeout. I haven't had time to work on it. But I do have all the pieces, and at one point I will actually get back to it. Missy says, have you ever tried slow stitching? What is slow stitching? Josh wants to see the ribbon for excluded. We love a good ribbon flash here. Okay, well, I'll show you the quilt too, because I have the quilt back. But let me get through this cloud, or at least this strand of thread, and then we'll take a break from hand embroidery and we'll do a little show and tell with the quilt and the ribbon. You can hear the needle? That's awesome. I like the way it sounds. It's a little soothing. This is a new level of sewing ASMR, but don't tell Ruby. I won't tell Ruby if you don't tell Ruby. Okay, that's, I'm going to stop here because I want to be able to tie off that thread and not have so much of a hard time. And we'll reload the needle after I show you guys the ribbon. All right, let's go to this camera. This camera, this camera, this camera. Tell the people where they can find you. Somebody's been watching a little bit too much. Okay, I'm also going to get the quilt. Oof, 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 oof. All right, move this out of the way so I don't lose it. So they were attached to one another. And I think it's about time that they become unattached. I'm going to guess that this ribbon was for me to wear if I actually went to the show, but because it was in Dallas, Texas, I didn't go to the show. But I got this ribbon. I guess I could do the overhead view so you can see. I got this ribbon that says I'm a winner, and it had a little safety pin that I could put on my shirt. So I'm not going to put it on my shirt tonight. And then this is the third place ribbon that I got. I'll just let you guys admire that beauty. Pet, 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 pet. You can see it better when it's against something that it contrasts with. Isn't that great? So beautiful. I love it. I'm so proud. I'm so proud of it. So this is the quilt that I got that third place ribbon for. And for me, I am particularly proud of this quilt because it was something that I had in my head. I knew what I wanted, and so I figured out a way to piece it. I did not quilt it. Beth did, and I don't know that my piecing won. I think the quilting is maybe what got the ribbon because the piecing really kind of makes it shine. So this is the quilt. I'm holding it up so you guys can see it. And then I'm going to show you the back side of the quilt with the overhead camera because you're going to be able to see the quilting that she did. And so what I was going for, I wanted more something like a trapunto type of style. I did not want any stitching in the rainbow. I only wanted it on the black background. And so I sent it to her and I was like, I want graffiti quilting. I want some really dense, heavy, kind of all over quilting. So it has that look. But I want you to outline the X and not stitch in this area. And I know now that that is not an easy feat to do. It is something that I am working on and getting better at, but it does take a bit of patience to cut out all the areas that you want to delete the stitching from. So that's the excluded quilt. I am so happy with how it turned out. It is likely, so Ian's got me, he's twisting my arm and telling me that I need to next enter quilts into the North Texas Quilt Festival, and he thinks I should send that one in. And so I'm like, well, maybe I'll do two. I'll do maybe that one and a second one. And I'm not really sure what that second one will be yet. I've been thinking that maybe it'll be Mufasa. For those of you that don't know what Mufasa is, Legit Kits has a lion FPP kit, And like a year or two ago, I think it was a year ago, a year and a half ago, maybe. It was in November. I remember that. So I think it was like November 23, not 24. Donna from Handmade by Ying had asked a bunch of folks to take a challenge on Legit Kits and put together a lion. I know she finished hers. I finished piecing mine. It took me 3 months to piece. No joke. It was the only thing I feel like I worked on for 3 months. I got it pieced and then I sat on it for a long time because I was stunted with the quilting. I wasn't quite sure what I wanted to do. So I eventually bit the bullet and I sent it out to Nancy Houston, the very thoughtful quilter in Texas. This is a lady that Ian uses for quilting. And again, this is before I had Pro Stitcher and I wasn't sure I wanted to do the quilting on it. So I sent it out. She quilted it. I got it back a few months ago, 3 or 4 months ago, and it is sitting in my pile of quilts to be bound. And so I'm kind of thinking, because Nancy lives in Texas and is likely to go to that show, I'm thinking letting Mufasa debut at the North Texas Quilt Festival. Now, my Mufasa is a little bit different than what the Legit Kits kit is, because if you look on Legit Kit's website and you look at what their kit is, the background of the lion is all green. So it looks like he's in the jungle and like perching on a rock a bit. I did not want the green. And so I went through the entire pattern, and anywhere where there was green in the background, I replaced it with an ombre fairy dust in black from V&Co, Vanessa Christensen, I think is her name. She does that really pretty confetti or like ombre fabric for Moda. I replaced it with that, so it looks like a sparkly night sky. And then I also figured out how to paper piece a moon and put that into the night sky as well. And so I aptly called it Mufasa because it just kind of reminded me of the scene in The Lion King where Mufasa tells Simba that everything, the light, like he's talking about the ancestors, all of his ancestors are in the clouds and they're looking at the night sky. So that's why I called it Mufasa. Plus, Lion King's one of my favorite Disney movies, too. Uh, Mary said, a few folks are saying that you think I should also enter the one that's hanging behind me. That is a thought. That is a thought. I may. I may. The only struggle with that is I feel like it's going to have to go into the kit category because it was a kit. And Mufasa is also a kit, but maybe I just want to show it off. So we'll see. Mufasa's a modified kit because I didn't just remove the green from the background. I also looked at the lion and used probably 90% of the colors that the pattern called for, but there were some areas of his face where it kind of had like a green hue, and I didn't want that, so I replaced it with brown or tan. Mike is asking me if I ever got the chance to see Lion King on Broadway. I did not. No, sadly I did not. Aladdin and Lion King are my two favorite Disney movies. And both of them had a Broadway version. And I didn't get to see either. Okay, there we go. That'll work. Need a sip of water. I'm parched. So what do we think so far? Yeah? Hello, Kathy. For those of you that are just tuning in and you want to know what I'm working on, I just dropped the information in the chat. All right, now we get to do some fun stuff. This is where we're going to, I don't know that I'll necessarily do what the pattern says to do. We'll see. I am going to start with a red on the lower rung, and it looks like they did a back stitch, so I think I'm going to do a back stitch. So I'm just going to grab a red. Have you ever tried reversing the hoop? What does that mean? I don't know what that means, Anne. All right, that should be plenty. I'll put that there. Where's my needle threader? There it is. We'll get that off. Oh, okay. Janny says, I lied. It's not the Lemoyne star I'm working on. It's the New Year's star pattern from Donna Jordan. Yeah, I actually have that one hanging up on my wall right now. I did that a few years ago. Let's go back down here. So we're going to start with a back stitch. I'm going to start from my left. I'm going to come up just a stitch length away from the edge. And then I'm going to go back to the beginning, go down on the line, and then I'm just going to repeat that process. Come over a stitch length, go into the hole previously. And the big thing here is trying to make your stitches even and like evenly like the same size, and I'm still learning how to do that. So these won't be perfect, but it will be done. Linda says, I think you'd win ribbon with your Polaroid quilt. It is beautiful. It'll probably get entered. I was talking about that one. I'm not sure. I think I'm more on the fence with whether I want to enter that and Mufasa both. Maybe I don't. I don't know. I'll tell you one thing. That one's ready to go. It's got a sleeve and everything, whereas Mufasa needs a bit of work still. Susan says, there are a group of us who are going to do the drop diamonds that Donna Jordan had started in her last video before she passed away. Awesome. I think I saw Donna from Handmade by Ying talking about that. I probably will not do that. I think it's a lovely idea. I just don't have the time. Imagine stitching the side that is at the front now is at the back side. It's supposed to be easier to tie off. Oh, okay. Oh, like, okay. Not sure I fully understand. Probably will need to think on that a little bit more. Do a little internet sleuthing. That's a bit of thread. Don't need that one anymore. Now we're going to do orange for the second rung. So I'm going to pick an orange that goes with that red that I like. And my eye is immediately drawn to this one. So we're going to go with that. Come on. Thank you. What is the stitch that they're doing for that row? Let's see. She's got it in here. Oh, a split stitch. Okay, we'll do a split stitch too. Why not? Split stitch, I think I've got down. Okay. We'll tie off that bit of thread. Oh, Amy says reverse hoop is stitching in the well. You lay the big hoop down, then fabric, then pull the small hoop in. It makes the back side be flush, so it's easier to tie off the stitches. Oh, huh. So you would be doing it like this instead of like this. Got it. Okay. Uh-oh, I'm gonna sneeze. Ah! Okay, let me refresh on the split stitch. She says it is often used as an outline for a design. Traditionally, the split stitch is worked backwards, just like the back stitch, except piercing the previous stitch. You make a straight stitch from A to B, then come up at C. And okay, so we're going to do essentially a back stitch and just come up over top of it. So we'll start there. We'll go backwards. And then I'm just going to go about half of a stitch away, come up, and then I'm going to go down on top of the first stitch like that. And then I'll just do that all the way around. Half a stitch over, up, down on top of the previous stitch. Thank you, Mary. Lots of people saying bless you. Hello, Flicky Chicky. Tasha says, I like that you don't have to split the thread. I never do that gracefully. Sorry, I literally knocked over something under my feet. Carrie says, Missouri Star has come out with some beautiful embroidery kits. Doop-a-doop-a-doo. Slow stitching. I feel like this is slow stitching. Did anybody in the chat answer what that was? Because I think I missed it. Linda says it's looking real pretty, Becca. Thank you. Not bad for a beginner, right? Okay. Not bad. It's a wonky rainbow, but it's a rainbow, and I did it. All right, now we're going to use some yeller. Yeller. The next stitch is going to be a stem stitch. Okay. Let's see if I can remember. Start with a straight stitch, but don't pull your thread tight yet. Come back up halfway. Now pull the slack from AB and then go down at D. Let me look at my stitch dictionary, because if I can see it stitched, I probably can remember what it looked like. Stem stitch. Or I can always do one of these. I'm trying to find it. I know I did it. Split stitch, cross stitch, fly stitch, crouching, arrow, back, star, straight, stem. There it is. Oh, that's right. Okay. So it looks like it's twisted. All right. We're going to get some yellow. I'll go with this yellow. Thank you, Gina. She says, I think it's looking good. Thank you. It's actually probably going to be done before the live stream's over. Isn't that great? These are wonderful little fast kits. Rosanna Diggs, you guys. Rosanna Diggs. Not sponsored. She doesn't even know I'm doing this. This is literally me just boasting about the kits that I bought with my own money. If you've never done embroidery before, or maybe you're a confident beginner, this is something I think you could do. What did I just do? I did it wrong. Put the needle threader into the needle first, not the thread. Rebecca Dawn. Okay. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, slide that off. And then not the end. There we go. All right, let's see if I can remember how to do a stem stitch. Not sure I can. She doesn't. Okay, so start with a straight stitch, but don't pull your thread all the way through or all the way tight. Come up halfway and now pull the slick from A to B, then go down at D. Okay, we're going to try. And if I don't get it, then I don't get it. I think it's similar to the split stitch, only you're coming up next to the thread, not through the thread, right? And you're doing it with a straight stitch instead of a back stitch, maybe. There we go. Oh, I wasn't supposed to pull it all the way down, was I? Nope, I wasn't. Come up halfway next to it, and then like that. And then we'll go down, leave a bit of slack, come up on the same side as I've been coming up on, halfway through. Now pull it. And that should be it. What did I do? What did I do? What did I do? Uh-oh. I did a boo-boo. I did a boo-boo. Okay, let's try to go right back through that hole. Ah! What am I doing now? It's a mess, you guys. What the heck did I do? Okay, let's go through there. I did something. I got all tangled up. Oh my gosh. This is hilarious. I'm just making it worse. Okay, I can go through there and I'll undo that. Okay, that's good. Now, I am still, okay, I went through there, so let's just undo this. All right, we'll go backwards. Ta-da! Okay, let's try again, shall we? All right, I'm going to go down like that, hold onto the loop, come up halfway on top. Now I can pull all the way through and tighten that. There we go. Now we're back in business. Tasha says it only makes me feel better that I'm not the only one that ends up like this. I'm glad to know that I have inspired, I have made you feel better about your struggles. Grace says, suggesting keep a piece of muslin fabric nearby and practice a new stitch before you go on your good fabric. Okay. For all intents and purposes, I did practice this actually last night, but not a bad idea. Listen, this is a practice, okay? But I could honestly see why that would be helpful if you don't want to mess up a piece. Where did you buy the Stitch Dictionary? I got it on Amazon. It was part of a kit. I can show you what it looked like. And I will put a link to it in the Facebook group but I have to get the link from my Amazon hoarders. So it won't be until after the live stream. Uh-oh. See, I did it again. I needed to go down from the top, not up from the back. But at least I caught it before I made it too much of a mess. Put that right back through that hole. There we go. Up from the top. Hold the thread. Up from the bottom. Pull it taut. Down. Hold. Up. Pull taut. Down. Hold. Up halfway. Pull taut. Down. Make sure the thread is down below because we want to keep it in the same direction with every stitch. I remember that was a big thing. Hold. Up. Pull taut. Down. Hold. Up halfway. Pull taut. Down. I'm actually going to go right to the cloud on this one. It's going to be a big stitch, but it'll be fine. And then we'll go back down. And then we'll tie off at the back. All right, what do we think? Not bad, eh? That's pretty. All right. What is the stitch she wanted us to do for, oh, no, we won't be doing that one. She wants us to do a peeking knot on the next curve. I still can't even get, yeah, we won't be doing that one. Okay, so reverse chain stitch is after that, and then fly stitch is after that. So I could look on, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a whipped back stitch because I really like the way that looks. So red, orange, yellow, green. I need a good green. We feel like that's too, yeah, that's too bright. Ooh, let's go with this Kelly green. Yeah, let's do that. But I could do that bright green as the whip. I like a whipped back stitch. So whipped back stitch looks like this. You have your back stitch and then you just kind of whip another thread over top of it. So that's what I'll be doing. They called the knot a peeking knot, but it looks like a French knot. I don't know why they called it that. But I know I can't even do a French knot right now. They're sloppy. They're not, I'm still practicing it, so I don't want to even work that in here. So I'm going to replace it with something that I want to do because it's my project and I can. So I'm going to tie my knot. Have you ever tried chicken scratch? No, I don't even know what that is. Tot says, look at all your pretty floss, so pretty and organized by color. That's what happens when you buy a kit from when you buy a package of pre-wound floss from Amazon. All right, so we're going to start by just doing a back stitch on this entire line. Hello, Cops, how are you? Greens are beautiful colors, but I'm not drawn to them in my knitting or quilting for some reason. I don't know why. That's from Joy T. Lori says, chicken scratch is what my mama calls my penmanship, or rather lack thereof. My French knots are a hot mess too, Dot. I gotta work on those. Maybe after I get this rainbow done, I can show you guys what I'm doing and you can tell me what I'm doing wrong because I can't figure it out. Although, honestly, I probably shouldn't do that because I don't know that you'll be able to explain it in 100 or 240 characters or however much you get in the live chat. I'll have to look on YouTube for some good videos on that stitch. I asked Ian if he would be offended if during our next podcast episode we were talking, I was just sitting there doing this the entire time. If I wasn't looking at him and I was instead working on a project. He was like, no, I think that's great. I was like, okay. So next podcast episode, I might be stitching. And when I'm done stitching, the podcast has to end. Karen says, you are making good progress tonight. A lot has been completed in the short time you have been on. That's what I like about these little kits. They're super fast. All right, my back stitch is on here, and now I want to get a contrasting color to do the whip in, but I'm going to tie off on the back. Oh, Free Spirit says French knots are dependent on how you hold your pinky finger. Well, I've been ignoring my pinky finger, and so maybe that's the problem. Hello, Carol. How are you? All right. I know the next round is going to be blue, but I want to kind of do like a teal-y kind of color. So I'm going to pull out a blue that kind of bleeds into the greens. I think that would be a good one because the next color is going to be that blue. So we'll do this. Don't need a whole lot of it. Tracy says, I just dropped in. Hand embroidery! So fun! One day I will get there too. Okay, let's tie this off. Just like that. Okay. So now I'm going to come up at this hole at the end, and then I'm just going to start from the bottom and go underneath and through the top in every one of the stitches, making sure that I always go in the same motion. And this doesn't have as much contrast as I had hoped it would, but it's enough. It'll be fine. Guess I could have done that other green because that, like the bright one, because that could have been a blend between the yellow and the green. That would have worked and probably had better contrast. Oh, I just popped a stitch, which is fine because I've actually been thinking that I want to take that out and redo it with a different thread because I don't like how thin that looks. Last whip, and then I'll go back down here. Underneath a stitch and then tie off. Okay, now I'll put this back where I got it, and we're going to do the blue. Okay, what stitch do they want us to do for that row? A reverse chain stitch. I'm not quite sure. I think I know what that is. So we'll try that. And the fly stitch is next, and I really like the fly stitch. That one was fun. Okay, I haven't done, I think I know how to do a chain stitch. We're going to try. And if I don't like it, I'll just rip it out and do something else. Okay. Thanks, June. She says it looks great. Carol says, I love how your threads are organized. Thank you. Okay. All right. So, chain stitch. Do I work left to right or right to left? Let's see what they say. It's a line of lazy daisies worked backwards. You make a straight stitch A to B, and then you come up at C. Okay. You run your needle under A, oh, and then you go back down at D. Okay, that's easy. So we're going to come up like this, pull it all the way through, and then we're going to go down. Just make a straight stitch. This is getting kind of loosey-goosey on me. And then we're going to pull it. And then it says we want to come up at C, which is that really that far away? A to B. Yep, it sure is. We come up at C, and then we run our needle under AB, and then go down at D, which is right where C is. So run our needle underneath that stitch, and then go down right at here. Get off of my hand. And if I did it right, I should have, look at that, a chain stitch. So we're just going to keep doing that. So we go, now we're going to come up a stitch away. We're going to run our needle underneath the previous two threads, and then we're going to go down in that same hole. There's a chain. Same thing. That's easy. Am I doing it right? Made by Misty says, what am I missing with French knot? Up from the bottom, wrap thread around a needle a couple times, and back down where you came up. I used to do it all the time with plastic canvas. I'm a sloppy mess. I don't know why. It's the one thing that I can't seem to get down yet. I'll get it. It's just going to take some practice. It's funny because when I first picked up my first kit, I was like, oh, a French knot's easy. Like, I just got to, basically, you're just laying a knot on top of the fabric. And I was able to do it. And then I bought this sampler and I sat down to do it. And I seem to, that skill has, it must have left me because it is, I can't get a French knot to turn out tidy. Up from the bottom, run underneath the previous stitch, back into the hole with whence you came. Thank you, June. She says, it's looking great. I appreciate it. I really like this chain stitch. This is fun. And it makes for a really bold line of stitching too. That's great. Let me fix my needle because I'm about to come unthreaded. Last stitch on this one. There we go. Oh, it looks so cute. I love it. Okay, now we're going to do a fly stitch with the purple. And I think I'm going to go with this purple. Shelly says, your chain is backwards from what I learned, but I think it works better than holding the loop. But maybe my grandma's was, no, this one says it's a reverse. They called this one a reverse chain stitch. It's basically worked backwards. So it's not technically a chain stitch, even though that's what I was calling it. So you're not actually wrong, Shelly. Hi, was there going to be a second color with the green? Yes, there was, but it really blended in with it, didn't it? And so maybe what we need to do is bring in another color that will contrast with that nicely. What do you guys think? Yeah, let's do that. It just didn't contrast enough. So let's just go ahead and fix that really quick. It's okay if I put a third color in there. It won't matter. It's my project. I can do what I want. Okay, we're going to come up from that first hole. Would help if my needle stayed threaded. Hey, come on now. Urgh! Get in the hole! I don't know why I was having such a hard time getting the needle threader into the needle. I can understand if it was the thread, but geez Louise. Okay. Now, we're going to come through each of those stitches and just whip it real good. There. Now it's got that nice contrast, which I think looks better. I think I did it there already, so there's another stitch. There is another stitch. There is another stitch. There is another one. It's hard because I can't see the defined stitches on the back stitch because the way the threads are in here. So I'm putting my needle under there and wiggling it back and forth to see if it's hitting the points where the thread went through to the back to make sure that it's a unique stitch. Raquel says, oh, Becca, how cute. Thank you. Mary said, with French knots, make sure your thread is tight after you wrap around your needle 2 or 3 times and then go down. I think that might be my problem, but we'll have to find out. All right, there. Does that look better now? Oh, I like that better. That contrasting thread looks really good. Okay, let's do our fly stitch. Josh says there's almost a sense of improv methodology with embroidery. The stitch changes and interactions. Ah! Mother Night. Okay. In here, I want the thread to go through the eye of the needle, please. Thank you. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right, let's tie this off. All right, fly stitch is doing a Y. So we're going to come up on either side of like this. And then it's going to leave a little bit of a loop. My trick is going to be that I'm going to try to leave, to come up the same, on the same side, the same amount. So then I'm going to come up, pull that over, go down, and then that'll kind of give it, I don't even know if I'm going to like this, but we're going to try. They look like little whale tails to me. The sound effects you're making sums up why I don't love handwork. Haha. Sorry. Oh, that's not looking so great. It's fine. We're just going to keep going. We're going to trust the process. Oops, get off. It tried to hook on. I think I'm doing it wrong now. And I don't necessarily love, like this doesn't to me look like a fly stitch, but I do kind of like the effect that it's taking. So I'm just going to kind of keep going with it. I'm probably following the technique for a completely different stitch, and I don't even realize it. How many people like the sound of the pluck and poke? Linda says she likes it. Oh, that's what I'm doing wrong. I get it. Okay, we're gonna fix it. We gotta come right up at that bend. The beauty of this is if I realize that after it's all said and done, I don't like the way it looks, I can always rip this out and come back in and do it again. But I feel like I'm starting to get my groove down with this stitch, and you can tell about, you can tell, definitely tell where I started doing better. Grindle says, I love the sound. I'm cross-stitching right along with you. It's a nice, relaxing evening. Sometimes that's what you need, is just a nice, quiet, slow evening. There we go. That's what I should be doing. I figured it out. My thread is twisted. Okay. There we go. Let's get that to unwind a bit. Oh, Terry says my mom used to call that the hen's foot stitch. Okay. Uh-oh, what, I did it again. Dog nabbit. Okay, I was supposed to go down, not come up. Okay. Now I come up. Got just a couple more of these stitches to do. Okay, I think we're going to call that one good enough. And if I decide tomorrow I want to go back in and rip that out and redo it, I'm not going to feel bad about it. But I want to show you how I can, maybe you'll be able to see it too, how I could tell how that stitch was getting a little bit better as I was going. So I'll hold it up here. On the right where my thumb is, this is where I started figuring, this is about the moment where I was like, oh, now I get it. And you can see that that stitch there, right there, is a little bit more uniform and a little bit cleaner, whereas on the left, they kind of look like balloon animals, right? They don't look as clean or tidy, and they're not all connected. So I might decide to go back in and change that around. Although, I love how like none of this is perfect. Like if you look at that red, it's not a perfect arch. It's like your own handwriting, right? It's all your own thing. So I am going to pull out, while I'm sitting here, I'm going to pull out this white that's going around the outside, and I'm going to replace that with a different color. You guys let me know in the chat what color you think I should do around the outside border. These are the choices. Hot pink. Hot pink, hot pink. Okay, lots of you like that hot pink, huh? Okay. Like this pink? This one? Or, oh wow, there's more purples. I didn't even see those. Okay, Shelly, I hear you. She said to do the outside border with the hoop off. But I think I want to leave it in the hoop. I guess I could always rehoop it. No, not that one. Okay. Like that. That's really reading more red on screen. Peacock blue. Oh, Auntie says, I like the separate. You know what? We're going to leave it. I do too. I like the separation at the top because it just makes the rainbow stand out. So I'm actually not going to do it. I like that idea. We're going to leave it just like that. All right, so there we go. What do you guys think? Is this something that you would check out? If you would, oh, the yellow, maybe I'll do that later, but I'm going to sleep on this because I think I like the negative space on it. If you are interested in picking up one of these beginner embroidery kits, I did just drop in the chat the link to Rosanna Diggs, rosannadiggs.com. If you are watching on the replay, you can just open the live chat and you'll see it over there. I'll try to remember to put it in the description box below, but I am horrible for remembering to update links later. This has been a blast. And you know what? My project is finished. It's not perfect, but it's done. Like, I mean, I guess I have to put the backing and everything off and tie it off, but I'm not sure I'm going to finish because I might want to redo a couple of these stitches. I liked this. This is so soothing to me. Let me tell you a secret. I can do this while still watching TV. I can do this while still talking to somebody. And I feel like when I'm doing this, it slows my brain down and allows me to absorb what's happening around me. I actually feel like I pay more attention when I'm just letting this go through here. And some of the stitches, I don't even really need to look. I can kind of just, you know what I mean? I can kind of just do my thing. So This is definitely something I want to do more of. I hope you guys enjoyed the live stream tonight. It was definitely a bit of a different vibe. Hope I didn't bore anyone too much. Thank you, friends, so much for hanging out with me. I will see you guys all next week, March 28th. You know what that is? It is my anniversary. Jason and I's, it will be our, I'm trying to do the math in my head. It'll be our 16-year wedding anniversary. And I will be here celebrating with you, and maybe he will join me too. I'll see you guys all later. Bye, friends.